The Tao of Self-Confidence, episode 463. Welcome to the Tao of Self-Confidence, where I share stories of amazing women who have discovered their inner journey to self-confidence. Visit our website at thetaoofselfconfidence.com. Your inner journey to self-confidence awaits. Well, hello friend. Welcome to the Tao of Self-Confidence, where I share stories of amazing women who have discovered their inner journey to self-confidence. I'm your host today, Sheena Yap Chan, and today I have a phenomenal lady on the show today. She is a acupuncturist, a creative strategist coach, and she is also the host of the Messy Middle podcast, and I'm really excited to have her on today to share her story with us. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to Maring Higa. Maring, how are you today? Maybe you can fill in a little bit more about yourself to our listeners.
Sure. Hi. Thanks for having me today. So I probably am what is termed a multi-passionate. So I do lots of different things, have lots of different passions. I work with fertility and pregnancy in my acupuncture practice. I'm highly involved in creativity and all sorts of things. Right now, it's illustrations and watercoloring right now. And I help other people through the creative process and just getting to a space where they're embracing their creativity rather than fighting against their creativity. And my newest creative endeavor right now has been my podcast, which has been in its third season. It's called the Messy Middle podcast, and it's really talking about the middle spaces that we inhabit and how we make the magic within that space. So not so much of like we're a mess, we need to kind of be self-deprecating about being a mess, but rather like I think a lot of times that's really where the good stuff happens.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. And I really love that concept, right? You know, a lot of people feel bad when they're stuck at something or they feel like nothing's going on in their life, when really, you know, when you can just let it be and, you know, just kind of embrace it. Like you said, that's when the magic happens. So thanks for sharing that. And, you know, what's your cultural background?
Yeah, I love this question because if you could see my picture, I get so many different guesses. But my cultural background is half Japanese, quarter Filipino, and quarter Native American. And the Native American is Pueblo and Navajo.
Thanks for sharing that. And Maring, what's your favorite self-confidence quote?
I love this question. When you had asked me this, I was like, oh my gosh, I have so many. But because it's probably the most recent book that I've read by Shonda Rimes, The Year of Yes, I picked a couple from there. So one was, I am different, I am original, and like everyone else, I'm here to take up space in the universe. I do so with pride. That was one of my favorites. And then I'm just going to share another one because I couldn't pick. It was really hard. The other one was, if I don't poke my head out of my shell and show people who I am, all everyone will ever think I am is my shell.
Wow, thanks for sharing those great quotes. And I like that. And, you know, people see being different as something bad, something weird, something awkward. But what really being different is actually what separates you from the rest, what makes you you, and what helps people kind of attract to you, right? I always say being different is a good thing instead of, you know, going with the crowd. So I really love the quotes that you mentioned. And, you know, in your own words, how do you define self-confidence?
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting question because, and I've been thinking about it a lot because I think that self-confidence is more of a journey and process of, you know, choosing to learn and grow and expand while also learning to love yourself in the process. So I think that self-confidence, a lot of times we think of that and as like achieving things or feeling a certain way about ourselves. But I'm learning that self-confidence really has to go hand in hand with self-love.
Thanks for sharing that. I truly believe, you know, loving yourself is the first step to confidence. So thanks for sharing that. And Maring, what was your life like before your discovery of self-confidence?
Yeah, I think that when I was a lot younger, I was trying to figure out how I fit in. And so I was trying on a lot of different things. I was trying on different personas. I was maybe dressing like different people. I was maybe acting like different people. I think, you know, back to the self-love piece, I feel like I just didn't know as a woman of color and an Asian woman specifically, since your podcast is touching on that, I think I was surrounded by a lot of people that didn't look like me, that weren't like me, that didn't grow up like me. And so it was this figuring out and trying to find my tribe of people. And so I had a lot of just insecurities. I had a lot of getting into things I probably shouldn't have gotten into and learning things a little bit the hard way. So I don't necessarily think that's a terrible journey to have because I am where I am. And I kind of made it my mission in life to like really figure out who I was and all of those things. And that's part of, I think, building self-confidence. But yeah, I was definitely struggling for a lot of parts of my younger years.
Thanks for sharing that. And I think that's something we can all relate to, right? Trying to fit in, especially growing up as an Asian woman, going to, migrating to different countries like the United States and America where, we don't see a lot of people that were Asian. Well, back in the day, right? So it does kind of like stop, like it kind of doesn't help us sometimes, right? Because we feel like, oh, we're so different from these people. We're not like them. And we try anything and everything to be like them, not realizing we're more than enough. And what was that point in your life when you realized, you are more than enough to go out there and do the amazing things you do today? What was that aha moment?
So I think I've had like a series of aha moments. I think that at some point I started to see my own light. I started to see my own gifts. I started to not try to fit my own self into a particular box. So like I said before, it was a lot of trial and error. So being an Asian, I grew up, my parents are third generation Americans. So I grew up not identifying with the Asian culture and the friends in that group. And I grew up not identifying with the white friends that I had either. So it was this trying to fit myself in a box in my younger years and then realizing like I didn't have to be in one particular box. I could make my own way. And I think that really did come sort of later in high school and more so in college. And then just, speaking to self-confidence, probably the biggest aha moment, I guess, for me at that time was I moved to an island with a friend without a plan. So like no place to sleep, no job, no nothing, no car. And we figured it out. We ended up staying on the land of a random woman and she took us in. We found jobs pretty quickly and we ended up doing this thing that I feel like I wouldn't have never felt confident enough to do, but going through that process of living there for 3 months and going there on our own and figuring it out, that really was an aha moment for me in terms of like, wow, like I can do so much. I can do anything, it's like that feeling of like, whoa, I just accomplished this big thing.
Thanks for sharing that. And, not too many people would make that kind of move to an island with not bringing anything and just learning to figure it out. And I think a lot of people forget that, when you start something, whether it's a business, a new trip, a journey, sometimes you start out with nothing, but you can make something out of nothing, right? Like what you did, you got a job, you decided to live there, and make it your home for 3 months. And, it's like, if you can do that, what else is possible in your life? And, because of these aha moments, what's your life been like now?
I think that from that aha moment, and I just want to say, like, I wasn't that kind of person. I think I desired to be that kind of person that took these risks and moved to islands and did that sort of thing. And it was through a friend and her confidence that I was able to sort of borrow upon that and try that. And then I had that experience for myself. So after that, I was, more open to the possibility of the world. I moved out of my home state, which for me was a big deal. I moved to Colorado by myself again in this situation where I knew no one and decided to go to school there and kind of made my own way. From there, I moved to San Diego, same thing, just didn't really, kind of was just following these possibilities because I started to create more confidence within myself around my ability to do things. So from there, it was become an acupuncturist. And from there, it was, starting this podcast was a huge kind of leap of faith. I started my own aerial bootcamp at that point. So there just became sort of one building upon the next of like curiosity, excitement, joy, and leaping with a level of like that confidence behind me led to a lot of amazing opportunities along the way. So that's definitely been something that's changed since my aha moment, I guess.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. And, I love how you mentioned that you're more open to possibilities from the world because, it's just, there's so much out there, like it's truly limitless. And we just, it's a great reminder that, anything is truly possible if we're just open to it. So thanks for sharing that. And to the woman who's listening to your episode, she may be in her own journey of self-confidence. What would be that one tip you would give to her?
I would say I think our biggest fear when we're getting started with anything is that we're afraid to look silly. We're afraid to be, not have it be perfect. And kind of along with my podcast, I would say don't be afraid to get messy. Don't be afraid to experiment and get curious and have a child's mind when you're approaching these things. And that confidence is something that's really a skill. It's not something we are just born into. Maybe some people have more or less when we're, brought into this world, whatever circumstances we have, but it really is a skill that we have to continue to nurture and grow.
Thanks for sharing that tip. And if our listeners wanted to get to know a little bit more about you and what you do or check out your podcast, is there any links or social media profiles we can connect with?
Yeah, I'm mostly on Instagram at Higa. It's MaringHiga. I do have a website also, which is my name, maringhiga.com. And that has all links to all my podcast episodes, the blogs that I occasionally write, and other offerings that I do periodically as well.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. And to our listeners, if you want to connect with Maring, you can also head on over to thetaoofselfconfidence.com and search for Maring's name. Her show notes will pop up along with everything else that we talked about. And I just really want to thank Maring today for taking the time to share her story and tips with us on self-confidence. So thank you so much.
Thank you. This has been great.
Not a problem. It was really great having you on the show. And to our listeners, be on the lookout for another new episode of another amazing woman's journey to self-confidence. And we'll talk to you soon. Bye for now. Thank you for tuning in to another amazing episode of The Tao of Self-Confidence. Get your free audiobook by visiting our website at thetaoofselfconfidence.com. Your inner journey to self-confidence awaits.